welcome to another episode of White Label American. Thank you all for joining us today. And before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to my Patreons, Ben, Keith, Vanessa, Harpreet, Kevin, Martha, Elena, Mark, Danielle, Kennedy, Jeff, Sarah, Verena, Brenda, Jennifer, Sean, and Unnena. Thank you for being patrons and for making this podcast possible and for helping build the community. For our first-time listeners, along with regulars who at this moment may not be able to sign up for Patreon, we understand, but you can still support by subscribing, sharing, giving 5 stars and a positive review on every podcast platform that you listen on. And also coming in May, there'll be a live recording, live episode that will be recorded for patrons. So if you want to join, that's another incentive to join. So you can, my birthday is in May, the best month to be born in, except for my daughter's. Don't tell my wife I said that, but yeah, we can't have months too. But yeah, there's so many months to count. We just count May only. Save yourself. Yeah. So today, I don't think I can do an awesome job about introducing today's guests, and it's more than one, so it's guests, so it's two. So they're MVPs, and I'll just allow them introduce themselves. So please take it over.
Why don't you go first?
Well, yes, this is Wayne and Ruksana Carroll. We are the Carrolls, and we are basically two hardworking individuals that are, trying to make our lives coexist in the best way possible for our daughter. And we're basically what you, I guess, would call now, which is trending, a Blendian family. So that's who we are in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think the best way to say we're like every culture and every difference in the world, we've just basically united it as one. I am South Indian Muslim, 4'4". Wayne is African-American, 6'1" or 6'2", one of them things, he's huge. And he converted to Islam prior to marrying me. And it's just been, we have a 5-year-old daughter who's mixed, and we come from a very big family on both sides. And I think with sharing our stories, so many people seem to be so intrigued. Like we look at it like, what, we're regular people? Like there's nothing really major about us, but people are always just interested in asking us questions and, interested in knowing our story. So I guess in the whole thing of living life, we've also become creatives. We're just trying to share and inspire people and help the community the way we can to get wherever they're trying to get.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah. Exactly.
So officially, welcome to White Label American, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Wow. You guys have these creative citizens. You guys are creative citizens, and you bring this creative citizenship that is just fantastic to see, and it's beautiful and it's authentic also. And
Thank you.
For an immigrant like myself, most of us, when we move to the United States, we come here with this picture of the American dream, and it tends to not have people like you as the American dream, and it leaves out interracial relationships, it leaves out interfaith relationships, or it leaves out people with your type of stories. And it's another reason why I wanted to bring you guys on the podcast, and because a lot of, like 95% of the guests on this podcast are immigrants who moved from one country to another, like first generation immigrants. But we tend to forget about stories like yours, and they're also important to hear from and to have and to listen to and to see, because there's so much that still ties all of us together, and it helps to bring down the artificial walls. So that's why I was like, I'm not going to miss this opportunity to ask you guys to come here.
Yes. Awesome. And it's funny you brought that point up. That resonated with me because my parents are immigrants from India. They've been in America for 40 years, right? And here everybody's probably expecting me that grew up in Jersey City, born in New Jersey all my life. All I know is American culture. This is, coming from immigrants. You would think I'm so Americanized just by my accent or because I married an American, right?
Yeah.
But it's so crazy how I am very, very tied to my South Indian roots. I still speak my native language. I'm still, you would honestly think I was an Indian woman from India that married an Indian man. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
people, that's not what people would think when they see me, like, oh, she married a black man. She's, you know, she's probably very Americanized. She probably doesn't speak the language. When we always joke and say it's literally fried chicken, curry chicken. Like that's our life in a nutshell. We've fused it completely.
Yeah.
And that's why people wouldn't expect that. You know, that's the twist about it. People wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. So I was on someone's show on Instagram about 2-3 months ago, and someone asked me, one of the viewers had asked me like, if I think the American dream is still possible for an immigrant today, and I had said, it depends, and I'm not really sure if we should still be. I think we might have to question the American dream, because if you're still going by that old playbook, it's definitely not. It did not include people like us with our skin color. It's definitely just based on white family, you know, white man and white wife, and it's all skinny looking.
The white picket fence.
Yeah, the picket fence, but everybody is different. Everybody has you can chase your dream in so many ways, and you want to live in a big city, or do you want to live in the suburbs? Do you want to, like, you know, it doesn't address all that. Do you want to have kids or you don't want to have kids? If you're from a same-sex relationship, does not address that. And there's so many things that is not included in that picture. And when I start mentioning that, I'm like, yeah, you might not even, America might not be your answer. Canada might be your answer. Germany might be your answer. So I'm not the person to tell you that you must come to America. I'm not saying that you shouldn't come, because I understand oppression a whole lot of us face in many places. So we have to get out of there, which is a valid thing to say. But define it by just sticking to that American dream that our parents, well, depending on, I'm not going to say stick to that, no, but create your own dream and go after it. And if you don't hear from people like the Carols, if you don't hear people like myself, you can't visualize it, then how are you going to be able to create that dream? Because you will still keep going back to that old same imagery that has been in existence for God knows how long. And then it's like, oh, but then when it hits you, when the reality hits you, then you now realize that it wasn't made with you in mind. Then, you know, the struggle begins.
You know what I think the American dream is now? The American dream, let's talk let's just use us as the first example.
Yes.
Of the American dream, being able to love someone freely, being able to find someone that is you truly feel is your soulmate without any restrictions or you know, disagreements or any ways like that. That's, you know, in my opinion, that's part of the American dream right there. And then the other part of that is being able to be a successful individual, being able to be a creative and make something of yourself.
Oh, yes.
And I think those traditional views of how to attain or what the American dream is, like you said, that no longer exists. There's so many avenues of obtaining that now. And then there's a whole chunk of that no one's talking about. There's a whole chunk of that American dream that no one's talking about, like you said, stories.
But you know what, when you were talking, this is what hit me. As I said, my parents and my family's been here for over 40 years, right? The American dream, the sad thing about it is, if the country that you have this dream of going to is not open-minded to accepting you, then what, like my parents have been here for 40 years, probably more than half the people, that's maybe more than some of the people that's been here. And the American country still treats them like they're outsiders when they've been here for 40 years. You get what I'm saying? Like, how, like, you have to have thick skin coming into this kind of country, because even the people living in America are going through the worst with acceptance, and people that are not open-minded. We're still going through racism. We're still going through discrimination. And you're doing this to your own people that's been born in this country, that's been here for millions of years. Then how are you going to treat the people that's coming from another country? Like, it's crazy how many people I have to go off on because they're not even trying to listen to what my parents have to say over the phone because they have an accent. They speak English. They know what the hell is going on. So why am I getting on the phone? You know how many times I'm saying to these people, why are you people not listening to my parents? Why are you people not listening to what they have to say? You would know, like I had a situation with my father. He bought a brand new fully loaded truck. They had no problem helping him then. when he had to buy, when he had the means and everything to buy a car on the spot.
Yeah.
But now he's calling about an issue and you guys don't want to talk to him on the phone. So then I said to them, I said, why am I calling for him? Why didn't you guys help him the first time? Why are you treating him this way? Because he has an accent and you don't have the patience to deal. So that gets me mad. You had no problem taking his money for that truck, though.
Of course, there's no problem taking the money.
So that's what gets me, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, don't try to, I understand sometimes we're trying to pay a bill. It's someone from another country. You're frustrated. You're trying to pay this, trying to get this sorted, trying to get information. They have an accent. It can be frustrating, but that can be somebody from your family. And that can be you could be in the same position. So don't forget we're all here together. Doing what we have to do to maintain. We're not on anybody else's dime.
Yeah, so, and
mindedness still bothers me.
I said to that because I've worked in customer service. I've worked when I was in the military. I did customer service, and white people have accents. White people from all over the world have accents, and it's on us, people of color, especially non-whites, to we are able to adjust and work with their accents. And then it's like when it's their turn, it's like I can't hear it, or I can't.
I don't understand.
I'm like, that I'm like, no, that ain't gonna fly. Because if I can learn how to pronounce your Tatachovsky name and all that, you can learn how to pronounce somebody's name from some.
Tatachovsky.
What kind of this African name is too hard. I'm like, have you seen your names?
Right.
Oh, don't worry.
So.
Yes. I know. To me, it's honestly quite disrespectful. Like with me, it's Ruksana, the Arabic name. They're like, oh, hey, Roxanne. Hi, Roxana. I'm like, I never said there was an S.
The most common one is Ruksana.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's like they're going to add more letters to the name. I'm like, you say you can't pronounce the name, so why are you going to add more letters?
Yes. But my thing is, why can't we just like being physically different? I'm like, people, damn, like I've had some people say things in the most wicked ways. I'm like, you want to know that bad? Why don't you just ask me?
Yeah, exactly.
Just ask questions.
I feel like as soon as they come across like a situation like that, like a weird name or something like that, there's already a preconceived notion. And then as soon as you see it, and it's just like, oh boy, here we go. You know what I mean? It's
ignorant to so much. Just because if you have a last name Patel, you're automatically Hindu or you're automatically from here. You guys need to open up your books because there's so much more deeper than that. Please stop acting like you're like a college level, collegiate, like graduate if you don't even know basic things. Like everybody swears they're doctors, professors, like they know information, but you're not doing the knowledge.
Everyone's a specialist at something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that bothers me. Like, please don't try to school me. Like, where are you getting your information from? Like, first let's
we could go into that, but let's not go.
Yes.
Let's not go too far. Let's come back to some fun stuff. Let's go to the original way we begin the episode.
Yes.
So we haven't dived into where both of you are from. Like, so it's different from what we've been talking about already. But let's start with the usual fun stuff.
Yes.
So where were you born, and can you introduce us to your place of birth and what childhood was like for both of you?
You go first.
You can go first.
Okay, so I grew up in Jersey City. Then we moved to a town called Union in New Jersey. So I've been in New Jersey all my life. That's all I know. Born with achondroplasia, which is a form of dwarfism. Tough childhood far as the outside. Inside, very protected, very guarded, very like bodyguards, like my family, cousins, everybody was just very overprotective and just let me be. So whenever I was home or in the space of family and friends, I never felt any different because I was able to do anything. My parents were just always pushing me, don't let anybody tell you anything. You could do anything, just try. It was always this, I'm the only child, so it was always this mentality, like no one's gonna help you. Like don't ever expect somebody to help you. They're not obligated. You always have to make sure you're able to stand on your own 2 feet. So that was just always my mentality, and then being physically different, I'm like, oh, okay, so if I can't do this, I have to be prepared and make sure I have a plan. So that was just always my upbringing, just trying to do whatever people told me I couldn't do, I would do it 10 times more, like just to say, well, that's what you get for thinking I couldn't. And having the support of my parents was probably why I am who I am today, because it was just they were just there for me. Like it was always, they were riding out with me. If I had a problem, my father was the first one there. He was like, I had mentioned it before in another interview, like he was one of those people, like somebody's bothering you. We need lawyers. Like, what do we need? Like, who's messing with you? Like, are they disrespecting you? Are they making you feel uncomfortable? Because nobody has the right to do that. And my mother was always just like the peacemaker, like people are stupid, they're ignorant, let them go, that's their life, karma's gonna come back. So it was always like those two things. I'm either going like the very peaceful route like her, or if somebody's taking me to that level, I'm taking legal action, I'm going hard. Like, so, you know, and that's just who I am. Just, I'm very passionate about helping, and, you know, it's one of those things where I realize like no matter where I go, people are staring because I'm different. Even more so now because I have a husband and a child, people are even more intrigued. So now it's just like, all right, well, you're gonna stare at me and look at me and try to figure me out, then I might as well use this platform for something positive. So I'm just using that energy that comes at me, whether it be negative or positive or whatever people are thinking, and I'm just throwing it back like, hey, I'm Ruksana and I'm real. Like that's basically what Wayne always says, like, she's real. Like you're staring at her, she's real.
You're real. Yeah,
So,
damn right, you are.
Thank you. So that's just it. And then, you know, me and Wayne went to high school. I'm gonna let him say his story, but we met in high school. We were best friends. Never in a million years thought. The funny thing is, we're both really exactly the same, and coming from two different cultures and backgrounds, you would never think that, but we realized that we are exactly the same. You know.
Okay, I'll pause you there because
yeah,
I think there's some juice that I want.
Okay.
I want you to give that juice out yet.
Okay, I won't give the
don't
juice
spill
yet.
the tea yet.
No, I
Okay,
won't.
so Wayne, give us some tea about where you were born and your childhood.
Well, I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and I've basically been in Jersey my entire life. Went from being born in Newark to growing up in Irvington, and then a lot of my childhood was spent in Irvington.
Okay.
You know, I'm the youngest of, there's four of us, so I'm the youngest. I have two older sisters and an older brother. And it was just a really active household for me. I was the youngest, so everyone was older than me. Everything was interesting to me. I was always trying to get in everybody else's business because, you know, I mean, there's a whole bunch of activity going on in the household. Yeah. But fast forward, moved to Maplewood, was there for some time, and then we moved to Union, which is when and where I met Ruksana.
Okay.
And
continue. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What you were gonna say?
Yeah, like Ruksana is the second person to appear on the podcast who was born. I think yours, Ruksana's story is reversed. I think Kevin was born in Union and then moved to Jersey City.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then you're reverse. You're Jersey City and then moved.
But how old is Kevin? Would I know Kevin?
Yeah, I think he's younger.
Okay.
He's probably Kevin is about 28.
Oh, okay.
26, 28. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me feel old, but that's all right.
Well, you're like me. I'm forever 21.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
especially with kids now, we're close to 21.
Always. You know, but nobody can tell me anything. Nobody.
No, right.
Same.
So before I go into you guys' first official meeting, one more thing about your childhood. What do you consider your favorite childhood memory?
Oh wow.
That's like my favorite question to ask any guest.
You know, I'll be very honest with you. One of my favorite childhood memories that I can remember is my mom and my dad. They used to always like they had really good jobs. They worked for the phone company. So every weekend they worked very hard during the week. Like my dad was a manager, and you know, my mom was in a very active field within that company. And on the weekends, we would basically go shopping and stuff like that. And they would always go. I remember it being 2 trips that I always enjoyed. There was this place called Union Flea Market in Vauxhall.
Mhm.
So they used to go there on the weekend, and we would go and walk around Union Flea Market with them. And I'm a simple dude, but I was with my parents. You know, we're holding hands, we're walking around Union Flea Market. And if you know Union Flea Market, it's like a different world from.
It was a very well-known flea market that had everything. Like everybody.
It was
like you're buying fish, you're buying pets,
clothes, an arcade.
Oh, okay.
It was like a world inside of a building.
Wow.
That's one. The other one was they would take these rides to New York, you know, and literally just drive to New York, go somewhere, maybe get a couple hot dog stands, but it was the ride for me.
Yeah.
Why I think I like driving now.
And I hate driving.
She hates driving, but
You like
that
me.
ride to me was so relaxing, and then the music playing. It's crazy. Like my father had this blue cat. He had this navy blue caddy, and it was like a boat. At that time, I'm a child, so I'm in the back seat, sunk in the back seat, windows down, parents in the front. I'm as happy as a pig, and you know what I mean. It was just. It was crazy, but yeah, it was just those rides, spending that time with them. That's what.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, whoa, my memory is so opposite from what he just like me. I think my best memory is when I won for student council president in school.
Oh, nice.
Because like it was always. Again, I just think I had this mentality like, are people not going to let me win because I'm small? Like, are people not going to let me do it and not think that I can't do it? And then I remember I did posters. I had a whole little team that was hanging up posters around the school. And then I had to say a speech. And then everybody like voted for me and was screaming. Like,
wow.
And every day I would get to make the announcements over the intercom. Loved it. I was saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I was just like in all the meetings at the Board of Education. I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, maybe I should have been a politician. Like, it felt good to.
I could see you holding office.
Thank you. Like, I feel like, wow, you guys picked me. Like, thanks. Like, you saw me for me. Like, thank you.
She loves being a little dictator.
Yeah, I do. I do. I run a very tight ship. I actually.
Oh man, I wasn't gonna go that far.
I do.
I mean,
I'll prefer to carry out the orders.
I prefer to be my dictator than the knucklehead we had for the past 4 years.
Let's not even go there. You know, that's another episode. Let's not even go there.
Even our governor over here. So you know what I'm saying. So
and that's crazy because he had a really good run. For the most part.
He blew it, but yeah.
But see, and that's what gets me. If you ever notice, like and that's in life though. It's not even just him in that kind of position. I always feel like you're on this great high or this great run, and you're doing real good. If you have skeletons in them closets, that's that time when people's about to knock that real good that you've been doing. Because now you don't even remember all the good things he was saying for everything. Now all you remember is the bad. And
well, the thing is, he's been a knucklehead for some time. It's just
yes, and it caught up to him.
When you have the orange, when you have that, I'm trying to be nice about that.
I know
there's no need to be nice about that orange racist.
Yeah.
He make every other person look like a saint. So as soon as he's gone, then everybody starts turning the flashlight on every other person. Like, yeah, who? Yeah, you. I remember you.
Yeah,
you made me
right.
feel
Don't
bad.
act like your stuff don't stink, right?
I know. People like, oh wait. I mean, I'm like, yeah.
You forgot where you came from. That's really what it boils down to. You quickly forgot. Right. That's really what it is.
Right.
People tend to forget in these days of where they came from and what they're about. They really forget.
Yep. So another beautiful thing is like I always love asking the childhood memory question because it's one way that shows how connected we all are.
Yes.
That no matter where the guests are born or where the guests came from, there's whatever they pick or whatever their answers are, there's always a connecting thread.
Yes.
It's either the joy you just shared from winning council president, student president.
Yeah.
The trips you were on. Yes, those moments. We all find everybody can relate to those moments because we're all kids. And in one way or the other, I remember being on trips. Yeah, it was to different places. It wasn't to New York. And I came to New York as an adult. But as a kid, I know what it was like being on trips with my mom and the family. And I look forward to being in the car. Like, yeah, let's go. Like, I wanted to miss school. I didn't care about school.
Right. We didn't have no worry in the world back then.
It was sure it would catch up to me later on, but I still made it. But
yes, exactly.
But I wanted to be on trips all the time. But even convincing students to put their trust in me, I did something along that line, but we didn't have student presidents like the way it works in schools over here. But I got to in our system back in Nigeria, we have prefects. In the final year, you're appointed, they pick students for a bunch of students to be prefects, and I was picked for punctuality prefect, and which meant I had to show up extra early to school so I could catch the late comers. That's when I was like, dang it, you guys could have given me something else. But but it meant they put trust in me, and so that's when I knew I could become a dictator too. So. Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Dictators, I relate to my dictators,
Yes.
Wayne is like, oh no.
We should start a page on Instagram just for people like us. Dictators. That's what I'm about to start doing. I'm about to add that to my bio. Like, I'm a dictator. Thanks.
Wayne is like, oh no, I should have known. That was the look on Wayne's face now. He's like, oh,
I know. Man. Don't worry, he'll probably add that to his page too.
The next time he gets invited to a podcast, like, are you a potential dictator or not? Let me know before I come on.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
So unlike other couples that I've had on the podcast, you guys met pretty early, and your story goes way back. So can you introduce us, walk us through that, and let us know how that went about, and because usually people who have met or interacted with, when they talk about who've been together for like a long time or known each other for a long time, it's always like, oh, it was love at first sight, and
no,
but you guys, that's another thing. That's another part of the authenticity that you guys bring to the table. You guys don't just present this glamorized story.
No.
So introduce us to that. Spill the tea on that, on your story of how you guys met.
I think my tea is better. I'm gonna add, and then I'll say it and you add in. So I would definitely not glamorized.
I gotta hear this.
I always say he was the new student. So when a new student comes to school, everybody's talking about them, right? Yeah. I was like one of those girls.
As per the usual.
Yes. I was one of the girls that, the football players were carrying my books for me, very protective. I was just popular, but I wasn't dating. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just hanging, and I was helping everybody when they had their heartbreaks. I was just the cool kid that everybody was hanging with. So everybody's like, oh, there's a new student. I'm like, oh, okay. The girls are like, oh, he's so cute. I'm like, oh, okay. So whatever, I'm not even thinking about it.
Nice.
Right, relax.
I know that.
So I saw him in the cafeteria, and he still denies it to this day. There's no need for me to lie. He said something really stupid to me. Like, it was something like, oh, yeah, I would be with you, or something like that. And me, again, I was like very shy, insecure type. I didn't think guys really saw me that way, and I wasn't in a position as a Muslim to be like.
You said, I said what?
You said something slick. Okay, you said it was like, oh,
I shrugged my shoulders.
You were like, you were trying to be funny. You were trying to be funny. So I was just like, I don't know who he think he is. So that was because I was always like ready for war. Like, I was like, I don't know who he thinks he is. So then I was telling him, my girlfriends, I'm like, yeah, he's a jerk. Like, he's goofy. He thinks he's funny. I was like, I don't like him, whatever. Just like that. I based it off just like that.
Nice.
I say all this, the last period of class, this fool is in my class. So I was like, why is this? They were like, oh, we have a new student. I'm like, oh my God, it's this man that was just saying something to me. So my face, I'm just like not prepared for any of it. So I think he was saying jokes and stuff. Like, I was just like, whatever. I thought it was funny.
She was mad because I was taking the shine.
Yeah.
She had the thunder. She was mad because I took her thunder. That's what that was.
He was
Her pride
I'll
won't let
admit
you
that.
tell you
No, I'll
that
admit
part
that.
of the story,
Look,
but she will
look.
never admit that.
look.
I'm saying
No,
something.
okay.
Okay.
But
No,
let's get to the
look,
facts. My jokes was popping.
okay.
I had people laughing. The teachers was laughing.
Okay,
Everyone.
we get the point.
All right,
we
continue.
understand.
Let's go.
So again, I was like, okay, I don't know who he think he is, but whatever. Okay. So then the teacher had asked us to say one nice thing about the other student in Spanish. Of course, it's me and him. So I said in Spanish that he was ugly.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
He's ugly.
Yep.
He said in Spanish, I was beautiful. Oh, he's so sweet. I was like, yeah.
But let's get it straight. I answered the question first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I said he was ugly.
And she still
Doesn't
played
matter.
me.
Still the same.
She
I was
still
like, thank you.
she still was nasty.
I
and
said
rude.
thank you. I said thank
she
you.
still hurt my nose. She didn't. She said, "Te mucho feo."
Oh my goodness.
Ugly.
I have no problem. This was about over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might need a
Now
time
look.
travel machine for this, so I just want to travel back to that moment and watch it for myself.
Yeah, I was so listen. So all I know is to kind of, because it can go deep, but all I'll say is I had a sweet 16. In Indian culture, sweet 16s are very big. So it was basically my parents, I had a big wedding cake looking thing. It was a big deal.
Got my license.
Hold on.
I just got my
Hold
license.
on. I invited everybody. I invited him because my mom was, I don't even know if you know that. I invited everybody and I don't think I invited him. And it was something along the lines where my mom was like, you can't do that. That's rude. In Indian culture, you don't do that. You don't have a party and then not just, you invite some people and then not invite everybody. That's rude. You invite him. So I was like, he's probably not going to come. He's American. He's not going to come to no Indian party.
We were friends at this point.
Yeah, we were friends, but I didn't.
It's been some time that's passed since that initial interaction in Spanish.
Yeah,
class.
so I didn't think, but still, who is he? He's not going to come an hour away. It was like almost an hour away. I was like, it was Morristown. It was like 45 minutes, whatever.
It was like 20 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I didn't think.
She wasn't driving at that point, so she don't understand
whatever.
the geographics.
Whatever.
She didn't understand the geographicals.
I
mean,
American. I didn't think this American guy.
It's hot here now.
Look, I honestly didn't think some American guy is going to come to my party. I really didn't, right? So I remember I'm at the party, everybody's there. He walks in with a little black silk collar shirt on, black slacks. I don't know, he looked like some mafioso type of dude walking in. I was like, okay. Like I looked at him. I looked at him a little differently. I was like, okay, he looks nice. And then everybody, in Indian culture, everybody has to say speeches and say stuff. So everybody's saying speeches. And then this fool is saying a speech. I'm like,
he didn't want to be left out.
He said something.
When in Rome, you gotta be.
Right. And maybe on this episode, we can finally drop the meaning of this, because he said to him, I was a little glass of water on a large table.
Wow.
So 20 plus years, I still don't know what the hell that means. So maybe he's going to clarify, but
wait, can repeat that again. That is.
He said his speech, we have it on VHS. I have to get this speech converted to YouTube because it's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic right there.
Yes, I'm a good friend. He loves me like I'm one of his best friends.
She's my little glass of water on the table.
Yeah, and I don't.
Wow, that might be worthy of a Nobel Prize for a speech or something.
Can you explain? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Please.
that is.
I mean, honestly.
And I wasn't anything romantic with you at that time, so don't try to make that romantic now.
Nah.
Tell me what
I observed at that time is that glass of water on the table, which everybody was around, everybody wanted to sip of that glass of water.
He's full of crap.
Everybody wanted to sip.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to
Yes. Somebody call Norway. Anybody listening to this? Just call Norway.
I cannot
tell them to send a check for the Nobel Prize for his speech. I don't know if there's a Nobel Prize for his speech or whatever award they give for a good.
I don't know.
Just send it to this man.
You didn't mean that way. Because trust me, even if it was now, you don't want everybody to take us. I'm not the water that everybody wanted to sip on. So please.
No, I don't know. It was just. I don't know, because see, the thing was, me and her relationship, it was very funny, okay? And we always had jokes and always saying little subliminals. So it was just a subliminal that for some reason stuck. It was crazy.
Okay, so now to forward. So we went through this kind of stage. I was his best friend. I was the third wheel, actually. He had his little girlfriends, his little friends. I was always, oh, let's go get rocks. Let's hang out with rocks. So I'm in there just hanging, right? Years went on like that. And then it was so funny. My best friend, I had proposals. I found that out later from my parents, but I had proposals pending to get an arranged marriage.
Now, what we're talking about now, you fast forward
Yeah,
years.
as
from
a
this
freshman.
relationship.
So like this was like 2004. Yeah. So we graduated 2000. Graduated 2003. He was 2002. So now this is out of high school where he lived down the street from me. So we always saw each other, our families, everybody knew each other. And I was just, my best friend said to me one day, like, she was like, wow, like, and she's African-American from Cameroon, by the way, my best friend. She said to me, why? I don't understand. Like, you and Wayne are like the exact same. You both come from good families, like you're good looking people. Why wouldn't you ever be with someone like him? And then that's when I said to her, I was like, I don't think he would be with somebody like me. Like, we're just friends. And she was like, why? What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. Like, she started kind of putting that in my head. And then I was just like, I always thought he was a good looking guy. I loved where he came from. Like, I loved his energy. He was always very genuine with me. Like he wasn't, like, for example, I had a lot of guys that were my friends. Then later they're like, oh, I really liked you, but I cared about what people said. I didn't want
it disqualified.
yeah. Like, it was all of a sudden you're coming out the woodworks like, I really liked you. I'm like, yeah, I don't like it. It was like those kind of things. So he was just always straightforward. And he was just funny, and he wasn't somebody that made fun of people. Like, those were things I looked at. He wasn't somebody that gossiped. He was very chill. Like, we're just funny. So I was just like, yo, he's funny as hell. He's like a good guy. His mother was one of the big reasons to me, because I'm like, she really took me in like I was her own. So I was like always saying like I had an extra mom. Like, she was just maybe things that my mom didn't understand because my mom was Indian and, in that culture. She was somebody that I would go to about other things, and she would really help me, like, as I was her own. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Me, like, I was like, I could see.
Barbara Carroll was an amazing woman.
Yes, his mother passed away 2008, but she was one of the reasons, like, I was just like, whoa, this feels like home. So I was like, that's exactly how I was brought up, that home feeling. And I was like, I never felt that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Other than his family.
First of all, to the point where when I was done with my sessions, there would be times where I didn't know Ruksana was there. So I'd go upstairs and, nobody would be there. If I'm getting water, I'll come back downstairs. Hours later, I'll come back upstairs. Here she is coming through the door with my mother and my sister, helping them unload groceries.
Yeah.
Or,
cool.
She was like in there.
Yeah. So then, I asked him, I had to see, the thing with me is, being Muslim, coming from a very strict background, I have a family of 300 plus between New York and New Jersey. So
I'll get to that.
Yes. So I had to be very, very sure that if I do have some type of relationship with this man, that this will be accepted and this will be somebody I could say. Like, I wasn't about to just be ripping and running with Wayne and then that just be fun and games, because I would have got caught and I would have been like, my dad would have kicked me to the curb. Like, you're out here in these streets. This is not how we can have, like, my dad would not have accepted any of that. So that was one thing I said to him, like, if we're going to do this, it has to be like, you have to be ready for all of those steps that come with that. Because I won't be able to be ripping and running with you and have people say Ruksana's out with this black man in these streets. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to be sure. It wasn't anything that because he was black. It wasn't because he's this, like, my dad at one point was just like, I think he's too big for her. He's way too tall. And my mom was like, everybody's going to be too big for Ruksana. Like, what does that mean? Like, I had to make sure everything was going to fit perfectly before I made that presentation to the two people that I valued the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I would say. That's how we ended up where we are today, now going on being married for 9 years.
Women are good with numbers, man. I don't even know how long I've
Well,
been.
no, I'm on it.
He's on it.
I'm on it.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't
Don't
even
ask me
nag
how
him about
long I've been taken out of the single market. I'm on it too, but I'm just
But yeah.
I spell my numbers out. I don't say it out loud. Put it out.
No, but you know,
I remember
a
my
lot.
daughter's age. That's all I need to know.
Yes, that's all that should matter. After once you become a parent, then the dates and times is just your child's at that point. But yes, but no, I asked whatever question because you know we had so many different levels to it.
Yeah.
But so
But-
ask away and I'll touch base because you know we could go on all day about this.
Oh, of course. So there's some things that you've said in your answers that I would like to touch on and
Yes.
come back to. But before we do that, I'll have to take a quick break and
Yes.
we'll come back shortly.
Perfect.
So all is good. All right. Okay, so we are back and thank you for staying with us and let's continue.
Yes.
So being that you guys have decided to, make this, take this big step and go to the next phase of your life,
Mhm.
It reminds me of, like I was born in Nigeria, and depending on who you ask, some people think Nigeria is a Muslim country, some think it's a Christian country, and but I got to see both religions. Both religions are huge over there, but people don't even realize that there are other religions that exist within the country. But there's so much misinformation within Nigeria, even disinformation also, that even from the way we were raised as kids, like I was born in technically the northern part of the country, but it's the Christian northern part. So
Okay.
but then I moved south. But I'm from the southern part of the country, and I moved down south for the rest of my life. And my school books had the heroes, the protagonists in stories that they had in the early education were Islamic. And for some reason, I don't know who thought about that, but it was very violent, beheading people. That's how they converted people to Islam. And that's the imagery that you start having. And this was at a time where we didn't have the violence that's in Nigeria right now, because you can't really mess with some parts of Nigeria where you have real terrorists active right now.
Right.
Extremists, I would say, because you have different groups from different religions.
Right.
But before the extremists, all this came about, they started popping up around the time I left Nigeria in 2007. But before all that would become a mainstay, the thing that was a mainstay in Nigeria was interfaith marriages. You had interfaith marriages existing. They weren't highly popular, but it depended on families involved. And then you also had a lot of conversions.
Yes.
Where like some of because Nigeria has a huge evangelical presence, which is why a lot of people supported Trump there. We don't like to admit it, but like all the big evangelical pastors in Nigeria supported, they're predicting Trump will win. If you look at their connection to America, it's the American white evangelical pastors there.
Yes.
One of the guy who said Obama, I think the 700 Club, the guy who said Obama, he's one of his racist, he's giving so many racist statements, but one of them was Obama, the towel Obama used is black. If you use a white towel on Obama, the paint will come off, something like that. He said that early during Obama's, when Obama was running for his first term. That guy, I grew up with that guy on my TV, national and state TV, every day in the city where I grew up in. So that just shows you how the programming has been working.
Yes,
So a lot of us see
yeah.
these white evangelicals on our TVs and we're like men of God. So when you try to say these people don't like black people, we're like, no, it can't work like that because these are men of God. So now, but the people who they approve of, these white evangelicals, some of the people they approve of are people who converted from Islam to Christianity. I don't have any religion. I don't practice any religion today because I don't believe I need a God to tell me to make me a good person. But some of the most popular people in Nigeria today are ex-Muslims who became Christians. and including some of the wealthiest pastors in Nigeria. They were formerly Muslim. So like one of them, his name is Suleiman. So you can tell from that name, that has nothing to do with Christianity.
Correct.
The other ones changed their names. One of them, his name was, I know when he was a Muslim, his name was Hassan, and then he changed to something else. I think David. And then people like that. But it's not, the Muslims who converted to Christianity, it's not a popular thing to hear in the southern part where I grew up in, because of the animosity that had already been building for some time due to the, this all is tied to our colonialism because of the way Britain kind of set it up, where you have the little pockets of division created so that, you have something to fight to hate the other person about. Because Nigeria is made up of about 300 ethnic groups. People don't know about it. Everybody thinks it's just 3 big tribes. Right. So you all are tied to various religions. You're tied to Islam, and even in Islam is broken into Shia, Sunni, but I never knew that they were fighting each other in Nigeria all these years too. So now, you now find out that I attended an interfaith marriage once when I was living in the western part of Nigeria. And it now makes sense to me why that wedding there was so much tension in that wedding, because the Christian side of the family wanted this done, the Muslim side of the family wanted this done. But it now started playing out, but I was just there to eat food and have a good time. That was me.
Right.
I didn't understand all this, but now I started to see stuff like that. I understand why my friend's aunt, who was married into a Muslim family, the in-laws were giving her hell. And there's so many things that go on, but every time there was a story that someone converted to Islam, it was always we claimed it was for money. That's why they converted. And when we had conversations between ourselves, we were like, oh, why would you convert to Islam? I'm like, man, but these Arab people, they got money though. They'll give me an oil field, like a gold tooth. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, these are serious conversations that the boys are having, because we are all from the Christian part now. We have conversations like this. And I'm like, so, then this is how we start talking, but this is how the disinformation seeps. And because these are way before WhatsApp days, these are way before Facebook came about.
Right.
And this how, so somebody will now train from this, but I heard they do this. I heard for you to convert to Islam, this is how they're gonna make you. And we only considered it good when you converted to Christianity. That's we accept that. But we never thought of it as free will could be exercised with you converting from Christianity to Islam. And now even talking about it, I begin to realize that it could also be a part of the anti-Blackness that I had before I even came to America. Because when I started finding out that there were civil rights activists who were Muslim, and I was like, wait, why would there be Black people who were Muslim in America? America's supposed to be a Christian country. But I was born Catholic, by the way, but I'm not thinking about it that the United States is not supposed to be a country with one religion. It's not. It's not supposed to have one religion. But now, where's that programming coming from? I've been interacting with evangelicals, white evangelicals been coming there, giving you a picture of America that it's not what it's supposed to be. Then I'm like, wait, so they're Black Muslims? What is Black people being Muslim? I'm not even looking at the work they are doing. I start questioning it. So by the time I arrive in America, why would I want to hang out with Black people? I wouldn't. Because now the programming in my brain has said, stay away from these people. And I didn't even realize how these fences have been built up. And then by the time I join the Navy,
that's an interesting point. That's an interesting
I find
point
myself becoming friends with racists.
Yeah.
I'm becoming the Black guy in their crew, and I'm like, why you guys talk like this? And but that's how I start separating myself later on. But it would take a while. And when I heard you guys' story, and I'm like, wow, so this is one of the people who was able to make a step that, in my ignorant days, I would have said, oh hell no. That's not possible. This guy, they must have offered him something. Or what were they have? How did they get him? How did they get him? We would have been like, they got him somehow. But that's what, in our time, those days, that's the way I was thinking. I would have said, nah, I can't be friends with somebody like this. I'm not, but there's so many of us who have been programmed. And like right now, a lot of my family members are like, don't fuck with Muslims. we hate because of the president of Nigeria right now. Even though he has Christians in his cabinet who are doing bad things, but it's like only the Muslim we're talking about. So
yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, so I had to bring all that, and people know me, know that in fact, if I had my way, I'm like, I would just remove all religions. But I know a lot of people who they need that for their spirituality, and they need that to get to where they need to go to, and it's done a lot of good. So I'm not saying wipe it all out, but I hold people accountable for themselves. But you guys have done something that you guys, part of your story includes something that people need to hear about, and it removes this misconception that only people who are offered money, only people who are offered that there's some that you don't have the free will to decide for yourself.
No.
So that's another reason why I wanted you guys telling your story on this podcast. And so if you don't mind my long
no, that actually
speech that I give. So yeah, you can take it.
Well, for us, it was, when Wayne was with me, we were even as friends, like he knew I didn't eat pork, right? So he wouldn't eat pork, and we just wouldn't order. He knows that. It was just a respect thing, right? So then after his mother passed away, he was more like, like I said, we were blocks apart. So like he was eating Indian food, just even as just friends, like he was eating Indian food. He knew like my house, my mother wasn't making pork. Like it was just, his siblings are much older than him, like almost 20 or a little over 20 years apart. So they have
similar to me.
Yeah.
I'm the last kid too.
Just like him, right?
Yeah.
So it was like sort of, I felt this thing with Wayne, and that's just the way I was brought up. I just felt this thing like, damn, he lost his mother. His mother was very important. It's your mom. Like, yeah. I just felt like I had to keep taking him in. Like, even if he didn't need anything from me on a financial aspect, nothing like that. I just felt like, damn, like he's the youngest. Like, I can't imagine my life like that without my parents. Like, I just had to keep taking him in. So it was like all of a sudden, it was just everything was fused. Like, we make a joke about it, like I was eating soul food, or he's eating Indian food. It was just like that. So then when I told my parents, that I wanted to marry, I said he wanted to marry me. When I said it to my parents that he wanted to marry me, my parents was like the only thing, like, yeah.
For the record, it was the other way around.
Oh, relax.
And we agree.
We agree. I'll say that.
We agree. I think last bonds, we speak the last bond language. Now I will have to switch from dictator to last bond on that.
Yes,
right.
That's fine. But I was the first person to marry out. I was the first person to marry an African American. My parents and immediate family, that didn't seem to faze them at all because they knew who he was. It wasn't like I just picked someone off the street and was like, I'm trying to get with this dude. But they said to me, they were like, the only thing that we could see, and my family isn't super religious. They're not Muslims that are covered up head to toe. The only person that was very religious in my family was my grandmother. And my grandmother's mentality was always basically don't do anything like half-ass. If you're going to cover up, then commit. You're going to fully do it. You go down that path. But don't you cover up today and then tomorrow you're at the Like, that was, and it was always she was always just telling me, you do the best you can, Ruksana. You do the best you can. Don't forget God, be grateful, thankful for everything that you have. Pray to God, help people when you can. Things other people are always in worse situations, be humble. So that was just always my mentality. So, and my grandmother, that's another story, but she had passed before I could tell her that Wayne is who I wanted to be with. And the funny thing about it, she kind of told my mother and my mom's sister in India, which I found out later in life, that she had always told my mom's sister in India that she thought Wayne would be perfect for me. So that's
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's because she saw him, and then so the Muslim thing was the only thing. They were like, as far as like spirituality, you all should be one, so you won't have any issues. Like, do you think he would have a problem like converting for you? And I said, I don't know. I was like, they were like, that's the only thing. Like, everything is fine. We accept everything, but would he be able to be the same religion as you? So, we can get, you can get married to the imam, which is our priest, and you could just flow. Like, because my mom and dad was like, we're not really religious. So it's not like, they said they thought it was really strict at that time. This was in 2010. So they were like, he might have to change his name, but we're not sure. We'll look into it. Like, that might not be a big deal because there are Muslims with American names. So I asked him and I said, I was like, this is where it's at right now. Like, that's the only thing that they're saying. Like, would you be able to convert? And he said, yeah, he did his research and he was like, it's not like I'm eating pork now anyway.
See, I would like to touch on that
Yeah,
story that you had, like, where you were kind of being subconsciously fed a negative image of Muslim people, right?
Oh, and for your information, my first best friend as a kid was a Muslim.
So hear me out. This is my point.
So because I grew up around Muslims, but that and
this is my point.
You don't see the invisible wall being created by family and other influences.
So one of my first best friends was Muslim. His name's Ibn. Time went on. I met a lot of people. I'm a guy that has a lot of acquaintances, but then there's another brother that really resonated with me, and I used to work with him as well. His name's Brian. He was Muslim. And my interaction with Muslim people, my sister had Muslim friends. So my interaction with Muslim people wasn't like, I didn't get any negative connotation at all whatsoever. So I've always been aware of the culture, the religion, and I've actually, before I was even religious, I respected the way that a Muslim person carried themselves. Very clean, very respectful, very nice. The ones that I came in contact with, and that was a few. And for the record, the ones that everybody's like, oh, Muslim people are, they're being fed the wrong story.
Yeah.
And they're looking at terrorists and extremists that take the religion way out of context.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell whoever's listening, that's not Islam. Islam is probably the most humblest person you done came across. You didn't even realize they were Muslim, because that's how good of a people, that these individuals are. But, fast forward. So it was never really like a big thing with me. It wasn't an issue, or it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. It was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, at this point, if that's the only barrier that I have to cross in order to be with the woman I love, then that's nothing. I don't mind converting to Islam. And again, as I mentioned a little earlier ago, I was already familiar with it. I respected it. And to be a part of that, actually, it was actually life-changing. It made me go about life completely different. So,
and the thing about it is I didn't know anything about this. I just knew, like, they would take, we would take him and he would be able to convert at the mosque. And the craziest thing, I felt so bad, was I couldn't even go in with him for that experience because I'm a woman, right? So men and women are separated. So he just went with my dad and my cousins that are young men and my uncle, and they took him. And the imam said to him, you don't have to change your name. Like, that doesn't define, what your faith is. You don't have to do any of that. You follow it the best you can follow it. Like, and that was exactly how I was brought up. It was, as Muslim as I am, I'm very open, like positive people, positive speakers. I'm always taking something that can motivate me and inspire me from all religions.
Yep.
Not, like, just like for us with Christmas, right? My daughter, I grew up, my parents I had a Christmas tree for me. They had gifts for me. I'm not saying hallelujah, Jesus, praise the Lord.
Of course.
I'm like, okay, I'm in this country, right? So just like there's Indian food and
the
we're eating Chinese food and we're doing all this, I will put a tree up. I will respect that. I've dyed Easter eggs, but that doesn't make me less Muslim. But then when it's Eid or my religious, holidays, I'm out there too. So I was just I respect all religions. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't expect people to come at me. Like, it's crazy. This is something that happened recent. Like, one guru, Satguru, he's Hindu. He has over 1 billion followers. He's done a lot of bad things. He's spoken negatively about Muslims too. He has his own beliefs. He has over 1 billion followers. People are following this dude. My mother was like, sometimes he says some really inspirational stuff about the human being and how we should be, like our energies, right? My mom was like, some of his quotes are really deep. Right. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Will Smith had him over at his house. And then I was listening to it. Wow. And I was like, this dude got some stuff to say. And I started posting quotes that like resonated with me that weren't religious, that were just positive quotes.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people, like, I'm Muslim as hell, but I will never not say one religion is not better than mine or what. Everybody has that faith
Exactly.
that worked on that path for them. Like to me, I know my God made me this way because I was chosen for this life, and I got to live this life and see it to the end of whatever is meant for me on this journey. You know what I mean? And that just worked for me. So like with me and Wayne, like it's very simple, like lifestyle with that. Like it's not.
There wasn't really no like pushback or bumps or hurdles that we had to cross.
No, very smooth.
Yeah,
very smooth. Our ceremony, it was funny. It's crazy because we had our wedding was like 350 people, right? So we're thinking we're about to get married the day before. We're thinking we're about to get married in front of everybody. So then the day before our wedding, the priest, the imam said to us, yeah, so I'm not going to marry you guys there because that's not going to be like valid to marry you guys at the venue.
Oh.
The day before our wedding. So
Wow.
he's like, I have to marry you guys at the masjid, at our mosque. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not. So we were like what? I'm like planning to walk out with the gown and everything. Like, how is this possible? So the day before, we literally, it was our immediate,
my brother,
immediate family, father, his father,
grandma,
immediate family, and his grandmother. They're all Christian, Southern Christian women. Hijab. Everybody threw on that hijab.
Out of respect.
Out of respect.
Of course.
At the masjid, we got married privately in front of our immediate family and the imam. And then what was supposed to be our wedding that Saturday was actually our reception because we were already married. But that's all that really
it turned into like an 8-hour party.
Yeah, but that's all that our religion of us, you know.
So you guys had the Indian wedding.
It was fusion. People actually like a Broadway show. It was a lot going on. It was a lot of dancing and performances. Yeah,
it was definitely.
That can compete with the Nigerian wedding. Well,
with Nigerian
tribal wedding.
Same, yeah, I know. We have a lot of actually similar with African culture and Indian culture, but that's what I'm saying. It's like people think it's like, oh yeah, he turned Muslim. He's like this.
Yeah.
Actually, nothing has really changed. Like his family, when we go to his sister's house for Christmas or Thanksgiving, they know they don't eat pork. Like we just don't.
I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that really.
Serious.
That's the only thing that really changed. Like.
And now they even tell us before they would be like, oh, this place is pork. We'll be like, oh, it's okay. And now like they'll do the research, like, guys, there's pork here, so we're not gonna go. And we're like, it's okay, guys. Like we will just eat something else. It's not. We never made people. And I'm like the true advocate for this. I know what it is like to feel uncomfortable already being physically different. So I don't like that feeling of making other people uncomfortable because I know the feeling. So I always tell Wayne, like, I'm going to be honest, and whoever watches this, sometimes if I feel their food is going to be whack, I purposely will just wait till after I leave to eat something that I want.
There you go.
You know, like I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to say I don't like this. Like if I just know, so I'll just be like, hey, if the wedding or this venue's the food's not going to be that great, it's all right. Yeah. We'll stop at Checkers, we'll stop at Burger King, we'll get something and we'll head home. Like there you go. It just can't be. You know, we're not one of those people that's gonna be like, oh my God, we were at that wedding, that food was so garbage. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like
I feel you. I mean, I've done it with some Nigerian weddings. I ain't gonna lie, but
yeah, you don't make it such a thing.
No, but no, of course, no. But one beautiful thing that you said that relates to me is that I'm not religious. I'm not practicing any religion. But if you come to my house, well, after the pandemic's officially over, you've been vaccinated and all that.
Yeah.
You see, I have a Quran, I have a Bible, I have a book on Judaism, and I have something about Sikhism. And it's not for me per se, but it's for my daughter. Now it's now my wife is not she's not religious also, so we had that connection. But I'm not gonna raise my daughter in the world and say, just because we're not religious doesn't mean this doesn't exist. It exists.
Don't be out here acting crazy, right?
It's up to you. If you decide you want to go this route, that's fine. She is independent. She can make her own decisions. That's on her. Now, as I'm a big comic book nerd, and at my comic book store, Galaxy Comics, I give it a shout out because it's a great place.
Oh, wow,
in
yes.
Brooklyn. Yeah, one of my favorite graphic book novels. I'm trying to recall the full name right now. I might have to send it to you guys later
Okay.
after recording. It's
Yeah.
actually a graphic novel on. It's a story based on an Islamic inspired story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's based in ancient Arabia, and I just saw the artwork and the book had Arabic inscriptions, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I
Mm.
bought this book around 2016, 2015, 2016. So like a
Yeah.
big, nice chunk book, but it has
Mm.
this black and white artwork.
Wow.
And I was able to finish reading it, and I was like, "Wow, it's really interesting. I like it." Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm a Muslim, but I like it. I like what the story talks about, and
Yeah.
I kept it. And when we had our housewarming party for our former apartment,
Mm.
one of my wife's friends saw the comic and was like, "Oh, this looks interesting. Can I borrow it?" I don't like borrowing my comics, but I was like, you know what? All right, let's give it a chance. And I gave it to her. It never came back. But the good side, why I like sharing that stories, she actually became a Muslim because of that. She said she was in a
Wow.
very dark place, and I didn't know how bad it was for her then, but she said that was like the beginning of her journey to
Wow, that's deep.
coming back. And I was like, I'm not I'm the guy who's like, I'm not religious, and I'm not expecting one of my books to put you on that religious path, right?
Right.
But because I'm waiting for you, like, give me back my book. When are you gonna give it back to me? Because
You clearly not
you're taking
giving
me
it
back to
back.
my childhood journey of people borrowing my novels from my house and never comes back again. I have to start
You're not
tracking
getting it
you,
back.
And she's now like, it just opened my eyes, like there's a religion that exists and it's different from everything that I knew in my life. And I'm like, wait, so this was like therapy to you? And she's like, yeah. So I actually looked up mosques around me, and she found a mosque, and she went there, and
Wow,
I was
that's
like,
deep.
wait, you come? Okay, you know what? I ain't gonna ask you again. Just when you're ready, bring it back. But it's been how many years? So I just ended up buying. I just bought the book again, like I think 2 months
Yeah, because
ago.
you definitely weren't gonna get
I
it
was
back.
like, yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
You
It's
gave
done
the Bible
something good.
now.
Yeah.
So I was telling the guys at the shop, like at the comic book store, like, hey man, this book's quite powerful. He was like, oh, the author has 2 more books. He doesn't have them in the store, but if I want to check them out, I was like, okay,
Yeah, please
I'd like to
send that. I
check
want
them
to
out.
see that.
So I'll send it to you. I just
Yeah.
can't remember the name right now, but I'll actually post it on Instagram too. So
Yes,
and
please tag us too.
on Facebook and see. But yeah, I don't even know if the author converted to Islam, but it's like Islam did something for him that
Yeah,
he may not
yeah.
have converted, but it's like Islam inspired him so much that he made that graphic novel um, based on Islam. But another
Wow.
thing I wanted to touch on was that I had mentioned earlier that my first childhood friend was Muslim,
Mm.
and along the line, I had lots of Muslim friends. But even when this misinformation thing started, you know, it just shows where my brain was at, that I couldn't even put the information together, that
Mm.
there were seeds being sowed externally that I wasn't even interpreting my interactions with Muslims. I wasn't considering the interactions I was having one-on-one with a Muslim. So I didn't count that as defining the Muslims. I didn't take that into consideration as, does it count? It was someone else. If an older person comes and says, this religion is bad, these people are bad, I'm like, oh, yes, okay, yes, this older person knows better than me. So you're right. But I won't consider that.
Right.
I've been talking to the Muslim, I've been playing with the Muslim in school and all that time. Is that person bad to me? So now I was living in a segregated housing estate. We have people surprised to hear that when I say, yeah, we live in a segregated housing estate, which was supposed to be fancy because we thought we were bougie then. But there was actually racism. It was for federal civil servants, and they pushed all the Nigerians to one side of the estate. And like half of the estate was white Israelis who got to be on that side. So now there was this Pakistani couple, family that moved in there. They were much older, and they put them on the Nigerian side. So that was like the first sign that yeah, there was something going on. They put them on our side, and their kid, they had one of they had a boy and a girl. The boy was around my age. I was about 8, 9 years old. The boy was yeah. So they were Muslims, and the boy was my age. So he got to play with us while we're playing every day. But that would be my first introduction to Islamophobia was because of that boy. Because when we were playing, the person in my family who today is the most evangelical person that I know, we can't even have a conversation now because it's too crazy. That person pulled myself and other kids aside one day and said, we are going to convert that boy to Christianity. So this is how it's going to work. You guys are going to trick him to show up to this place that I'm going to preach to him.
Oh my God.
And we were like 8 or 9 years old. What the hell did we know? Like, why are you going to force a kid to convert? So the kid will now go and convert his family. That was the plan. So me being a loose mouth that I was back then, it didn't make sense to me. So I just went and told the boy. I don't know, but I saw him and I told him. So he refused to come play with us. And then his dad now came to ask my mom, and my mom was like, what do you mean? But of course I got beat because I leaked the plan.
Oh, you told.
I got beat up for that. But it will be years later I realized that I didn't do anything bad because, but it was this thing of you got to convert them, but that person still goes with that mind frame of to this day, that person is over 50 years old now, still goes by that mind frame of you got to convert them.
Crazy.
But you can imagine at that age that I was, this is the first thing you tell me, I have a Muslim neighbor, convert him. You're not doing it right. So
not play with them, convert them.
Yeah, right. So when I become the age of, around the age of 16, 17, when I have Sri Lankan friends, they were Buddhists. And they wanted to come to my house. I said, no, don't come to my house because I knew that person would see you guys and I knew what's going to happen. But they kept being like, are you ashamed? Is it like you live in is it like poverty or something? Like, don't worry, man, we're not judging you, that kind of thing. So the pressure was too much. Once I was like, come. So one day they came to my house and that person saw them. She didn't say nothing, pulled me aside and was like, so what church do they attend? I said, they're not Christians. They are Buddhists. What is that? That don't sound like, what church is this? No. You got to get them on our church. Get them come to this service. I was like, here we go again. Guys got to get out of my house now. Get out. Just get out, because so. But this,
you went through the worst with that.
The seeds had been sowed a long time, but I was just the guy who couldn't deliver the preaching. I couldn't deliver the
conversation. You weren't the messenger.
I saw something on Twitter recently that was someone made a thread about how Christians harass people in Nigeria. And then people started to respond like, oh my God, yeah, you guys are just coming to our space. Like, oh, hello, brother, how are you doing today? Have you given your life to Christ? Like, yeah, I'm a Christian, actually, I'm good. And like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm reading my newspaper, actually, that push that paper down. You have time for Jesus now. Let me tell you, actually, it happens. We've been on the bus, they're going to, but it's like, that is a form of extremism. It's a form of extremism, but we don't use that language of extremism because it's coming from us. But if a Muslim did that, we're going to call them extremists.
But and then, you know what? In my life, I've never had Muslims do that. Yeah,
but that's the thing. We don't apply it that way. So it was funny enough. It was until I moved to the Middle East. When I got deployed, I was deployed in Bahrain just before Arab Spring, and that's like the place where I got to meet more Muslims. Now I'm in a Muslim place. The military told me I was going to a full Sharia law country. I get there and I've never had so much fun in my life. Like I've had ever. And I was like, man, what the hell is this? These people like to have fun.
What you said, right?
They like to have fun like we do. They had everything. It was the first time I met gay people in the public. I met LGBTQ. I met trans women and everything. And I was like, wait, people come from Saudi Arabia to come have fun in Bahrain, and they will run back to Saudi Arabia for the weekdays, and they will come back. And I'm talking of Arabs. They were like, oh, no, we can't. And I'm like, what? Be open. Be open. So I was just seeing people like, I was like, this is, and then when I told someone in the United States, she was like, oh, this is like the Bible Belt. I'm like, so they do that in America too. But we call it by a different language. We
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
we say, so it's different forms of in different places. And when I explain to people in Nigeria, they're like, oh yes, they sound like us too. I'm like, yeah, they are you. You are them. You just
Right,
you
right.
just choose to say, oh, they pray. It's a different religion, so I'm going to tag bad automatically, and and that's how it begins. So if you don't talk to somebody from there, you don't know people who practice religion, then you're just going to come with this frame of like.
Until
But
you
I'm
get
like,
the knowledge, yeah.
but if when are we going to address if someone who's openly racist comes to you and says, "Oh, but my God loves you in Africa, He loves you," but in his home country, He doesn't love you. You're going to address that?
Yeah, I
You
know.
shouldn't talk about that. It's not like that. I'm like, no, the Muslim guy who, if he's racist, then I can call him a racist. I address that. But if he's not acting as a racist, then you shouldn't attack. You shouldn't tag extremism on all of them,
No,
because you
I know.
can't. You can't. So if you're going to
Definitely.
hold them accountable for their actions. But don't apply the same to yourself too.
Right, same. Right,
So
that's what I'm saying.
that's where I got into trouble with a whole bunch of people, including my family. Like so.
So you
Because
were done. You were just like, I'm just gonna do what I
well,
want to do.
I think I was done from age 8, 9 when I failed to convert that boy, and I licked that that
Yeah,
plan of the
that was your
conversion.
first
But
loss for you.
and another great thing again was that I preferred Muslim holidays. Now this is something I have against Muslim. My personal beef, my real beef with Muslims is this: in Nigeria, don't matter what part of Nigeria you are, when it comes to Muslim holidays, the Muslims, they take food and feed everybody. They feed everybody, go feed all the houses. And especially during the times when life was hard for me and my cousin, we'll be waiting for the Muslims to show up. They bring the food. We
Oh,
get it. We don't tell my uncle that they brought the food because his wife wasn't feeding us. That's why we did it. And then we get that. And then we hide it. Then we run to the Muslim, because you can still go to their house. Now, that's the thing in common with Christians. Because Christians, they don't bring the food to your house. You come to the Christian's house and eat. Then we'll go to the Muslim's house like, hey, assalamu alaikum.
yeah.
Yeah, we want to come on. Yes, you're there, right? You're celebrating. Like, you need people to come eat. Yeah, come eat. I would always send food to your house, but still come eat. So we're going to double dip. That's how we used to do. It didn't matter that we had beef with you guys. We're still going to eat your food. So when I think back, I was like, wait, so we were hating on them, but we're still eating their food. We love their holidays, right? We saw Muslim women walk by like, oh my goodness, yeah, we want to go chat them. I'm like, wait, so we're doing all this, but we'll not still
On a
be
regular
saying,
day. Yeah.
we'll still find the time to say, yeah, but they're bad people. Like, why weren't they bad when it came to chasing their women, chasing their men? We knew what we wanted to do. So at the end of the day, it was clear that we were making it up. It was clear that we allowed ourselves be pushed in the wrong direction. And that's why it was easy for me to start finding my way out and say, this is BS, and call it out and tell people, like, when I see people calling, because I get people sending me texts like, oh, the Muslims they're planning this, they're poisoning our oranges. I'm like, man, how the hell one Muslim just going to spend the time to start poisoning oranges to sell to everybody? Muslims still buy that same orange. Why are they going to do that? It don't make sense. And it's like, oh, no. My brother, I think you've hung out around too many Muslims. I'm like, I grew up in the same city like you. We chased Muslim women together. I remember that. I'm pretty sure because you're married to a Christian woman now. She doesn't know about that past, but I can call your wife.
Right, you forgot. Again, to
if
go
you
in
want
with
me to, I can do it.
You're right.
So yeah, so when I look back to all that, I'm like, yeah, it's a fabrication. It's a fabrication, and it's just like the stuff happening in India today with the laws against Muslims, specifically targeting Muslims, and it's not just limited to only Christian majority countries. We've seen it in also
people just want a reason to fight for no damn reason.
It's just stupid. It's stupid.
They ain't got nothing better to do with their time.
So yeah, so I mentioned that not because I'm not a saint or anything, but I try to show people that, look, I used it. I let it create a ripple in me, and the ripple spread out to anti-blackness, spread out to a whole bunch of other things. And I'm still working on reprogramming myself to recover from all that. It's not what I don't want my daughter to go through that. And
Mhm.
that's one reason why I try to be as transparent as possible
No,
on
of
the
course.
platform. So with that being said, let's jump to something that's extra fun as we prepare to start wrapping up,
Yeah.
because you guys have given me a lot of your time. Um, Wayne, you're also into music, and what inspired music in you? Did Bollywood does Bollywood play any inspiration in your music?
Well, Bollywood has inspired some pieces that I've produced in the past.
I think he could use much more inspiration, but
Oh,
I have
okay.
all my inspiration right here daily. Bollywood inspiration, but honestly, what got me into music was the fact of just making the fact that you were able to create something from literally nothing.
Mm.
And at the end of that hour, those hours of sitting there trying to get that kick right, or that hi-hat right, or the snare, or making sure the loop is on time, putting in all that work just to have it come out to the exact way that you wanted it at the end of the day was so gratifying to me. And it all started with like making beats. And then it was like, well, no, honestly, I'm lying. It started with writing. And I used to listen to a lot of, at that time, what got me writing was, oddly enough, Busta Rhymes and Nas.
Oh,
Very inspirational to my flow. Like I was looking at it like this. When it came to like wordplay or wild flows, it was definitely, well, when it came to wild flow, it was Busta Rhymes for me. When it came to like wordplay or that intelligent storyteller, that was Nas for me.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
that
I agree with.
you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
it was just, I don't know really what sparked it, but also at that time in high school, I was hanging with cats that were rappers.
So yeah,
That's
the rap crew.
right. And I didn't know this till one day we were walking up the street on a high school lunch break going to get beef patties. And,
Oh, I love
in
it.
front of the beef patty store, my man
Right.
Terrence was, he was making a beat with his mouth and the other kids started rapping. And I just thought it was really interesting, like what was happening. It was the magic of what was happening for me. It wasn't even the rapping or the beat. I realized that now while I'm telling you this story, it was literally the magic of how making music came together. Whether it was like that in the purest form on the corner with someone beatboxing and someone else freestyling, or whether it was in the studio, it was the magic of how it would come together. And there was a lot of times in my younger days when I was in the studio making stuff and she would be in there and she would say something or do something that would inspire the guys to come up with an idea.
yeah. I really, I mean, if it's not too late, I would still, I think my inner calling is to also be in the music industry.
You got plenty of bars, so yeah,
I feel
that is.
like I could dabble, maybe, soon come, maybe you'll see me on something.
No, but
I do like that energy.
You haven't done any remix?
It's literally just like, so, back to the point, it was literally just the magic of creating something from nothing. And then once I started writing, obviously I needed beats to rap over.
Yeah.
I started trying to figure out how am I going to make beats and do beats. And then it came to that. And then next thing you know, here I am making my own beats or figuring out the equipment I need to make beats and writing. And now I have my own studio.
Nice.
And I'm in music because now my heart has said, you know what, I'm married to this. Because it just resonated with me. Like, again, the magic of how you can make music, that creation of something from nothing. It was just, that's what sold me on it.
Creation of something from nothing.
And even when my mom passed from cancer in 2008, it was rough for me because that was literally my best friend. And I mean, it's your mother, every man to this day who still has their mother in their life, you're your mother's son. You're a mother's boy. I don't care what nobody say. Unless your mom gave you any reason to truly dislike her, your mother is your heart. That's your heart and soul. So when I lost her, it was heavy. And I think the only thing that really got me through that was music, to be honest with you. I'm kind of getting like emotional now thinking about that time. It helped me through.
It's
That'd be
understandable.
true.
It's understandable. You create from the heart. So
Yeah.
yeah. So with that being said, who are if you were to drop, I know you've dropped some artist names already, but if we had to name, if you're like, okay, stuck on an island, you, who are like two artists that you're like, okay, I'm going to be stuck on this island. Give me these two artists that are okay. I'll be fine if I'm stuck on this island with these two artists.
Wow. Nowadays, artist is a hybrid word because there's a lot of artists that produce and rap.
Yeah.
So with that being said, wow.
Should I make it three?
Why do I know this?
You, you go ahead. Give us your answer.
I would do Timbaland because
Okay.
like I could just, his beats.
Well, see, that's what I was trying to justify.
And then it would be Jay-Z because Jay-Z is just Jay-Z.
Well, that's honest. I would definitely do when it comes to artists. I wasn't thinking about that because I think of Timbaland as a super producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is an artist. So with that being said, it would definitely be Timbaland because that man's level of creativity.
His beats.
He's the GOAT, man.
I stopped dead in my tracks to hear his beats. Like, I'm like, man, and the Indian stuff he does.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
like,
true.
Throw me in the video.
That's
I love
true.
him. Yes.
That would definitely be my, far as alive. It would definitely be Hove and Tim because I know that I could go anywhere with those two.
Yes, that's
literally I can go any end of the spectrum with those two.
I should be back in. I should do music.
I wouldn't be strapped to this lane in the music prism. You understand what I'm saying? It would be like, all right, we're gonna go left, we're gonna go all the way left, we're gonna get dark, we're gonna do a little metal, but how we gonna switch it up? Do a little bounce in there, and we can make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I would be able to get that. So yeah, absolutely. I would definitely do Tim and Hove.
Yep, those are great choices.
You're welcome.
And that's true. I think, Tim was, he was the first person who I had that blend of the Indian, should I say Bollywood flavor into the hip hop mix.
Yes.
And it was just, I can't remember what the song was, but what was it, a song for Missy Elliott that he did that?
Oh, he did a whole bunch. Get Your Freak On had the Indian flow.
I got a funny story about Get Your Freak On. So I've said it on the podcast before, but it was for my niece. And the evangelical person I'd mentioned previously, one of our daughters was my second niece. And I've been introducing my nieces and nephews to music, because they didn't realize that their mom had a life before she found Jesus, and decided that I have to be the next person next to him, and took it to another level. So each person had their song. I think they were, how old were they then? My second niece was about 8 or 9 years old. So around the age when I was supposed to be converting people. So but instead I converted her to music, and her song was Get Your Freak On.
Oh God.
She could rap it from the beginning to the end, and she did it one day for me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I wanted you to get into music, but you know what? Do me a favor. Whenever you sing this song, just don't do it in front of your mama.
Right.
If you do it in front of your mama, just sing only the chorus maybe, because she won't understand Get Your Freak On. But if you start rapping the whole thing and she listens and pays attention, she's gonna be casting demon out of you, and then she's gonna come after me because she gonna know it's from me. So she's gonna come after me, and then it's gonna be a whole drink the anointing oil and casting and all that. So I knew. So I was like, please, just I can't afford any arguments or fighting, because
just say yourself.
Yeah, because when I was around age of 7, 8, there's this song, Girl, I Want to Make You Sweat.
Yeah.
That song, they used to play that song. Now, I don't know why, but they play that song on state TV every day, on national TV every day. It was on the radio every day. So what a kid like me gonna do? I learned the song, so I used to sing it. Girl, I Want to Make You Sweat. Sweat, you can't sweat no more. I'm singing it 24/7.
That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
you were
singing
singing
this
while you
song.
were going around converting people.
I guess I was supposed to be converting, but I was trying to make people sweat instead. And now I'm walking past the evangelical person. She sees me, and oh my goodness, she's like, "Come here, come here, come here, come here. What did you just say? Oh, I'm singing. Yeah, sing that song again. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I'm thinking I have a nice, sweet voice. My voice probably sounded bad also, but I'm like, girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat, so you can sweat no more. I'm so happy. And pow, go and kneel down the corner. Go tell Jesus you're sorry. I'm like, sorry for what? What did I do? I don't know. I'm like,
Right, you're
what?
just singing a song.
So I'm crying now. I run to my mom, and my mom's like, well, what happened? I'm like, oh, this person beat me. Why they beat you? I was singing. What were you singing? Oh, girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat. My mom's like, what is this? What? Come here, come here, come here. Pow. I got it up beat again. So I'm like, nobody explained to me why I'm getting beat. That's the point. I was like, I don't know why people are beating me. I'm just getting beat. And I'm like, so the next day I go to school and I'm telling my classmates, like, hey man, I got beat up yesterday. And they're like, why? It's like, I was singing this song. You know that song? Girl, I want to make you sweat. Oh man, you don't know the meaning? I'm like, no. Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to sing that song. I thought the song you're singing around parents. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, okay, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that I guess. So yeah, I failed with converting people, and then I tried to make people sweat. And
Wild career.
Yes.
Wild career you have.
Oh.
That's your calling.
All right. So second to final question. If I were to, I come to your neck of the woods, and by the way, you have an invitation when everything settles down to come try Nigerian food on this
same.
side of Brooklyn.
Yes.
It's very spicy, so I know you like spicy already. So
oh, please. Yes,
yeah,
spice is
so
nothing.
I know I heard from the grapevine that somebody likes a lot of Tabasco and all the hot sauces on their food. So I'm not gonna say who, but but yeah. So if I had to come to your side, of the woods, what's the first cuisine that you say you recommend for me to eat?
Indian food?
Yeah.
Hey, up to you. What's the first food you're gonna like?
Yeah, because
put in front of me, like, try this, eat this.
I think it would definitely be South Indian food, because South Indian food is in a lot of great restaurants. That's like the down home cooking. And our family friends actually own a great restaurant by us. So that, and then probably definitely soul food, a good soul food spot, like potato salad, beef ribs, fried fish, good, like down home cooking.
Well,
like, I know all the spots.
Does Wayne have a different answer?
No, he would have probably said that. What would you say? Anything different?
No, honestly, I would say you would definitely have to try some South Indian food, and you definitely have to try my sister's southern.
Yeah, well, of course.
My sister's soul food.
Yeah.
This woman literally cooks like my mother.
Yeah, and then my mother makes some really good down home South Indian.
Yeah, her mom can throw down.
And
her mom can throw down.
And my sister-in-law, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So we would have to do. We would have to get plates made for you from both sides.
Right.
Hey.
The best way.
When it comes to food, now that was the last barrier of discrimination gone. It's just left. That's how I knew. That's how I knew I couldn't be a hotel. That's how I knew I couldn't be any form of crazy. Like, yeah, food. They just bring the food from. I'm like, where the food from? I don't care. Bring it. I'll eat it.
Right. That's how you become open-minded right there, because that's the connection. Right.
All right. So final question. What would you like to leave the guests with? Could be a line from a book you've read, could be a line from one of your songs, Wayne, or it could be a line from Timberland. I don't know. Could be a line from anywhere. Anything.
I will say, I'll say this. There are times where life can feel like a big movie and you will feel like just an extra. That moment that you feel like an extra, and I'm only saying this because I feel like I'm living this right now. That moment that you feel like your life is going to amount to you just being an extra, make the choice to be the star. Plain and simple. And if you know, if you know what I'm saying, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's, life gets crazy at times, but it's a big movie. And if you feel lonely and you feel like, you know, you're in a weird spot and you don't want to be an extra no more, because no one remembers the extra. Who wants to live this beautiful life that God has blessed us with just to die as a nobody? That's how I've always felt. And that thought strives me to be better than I was the day before and every day to come, and to make something of myself and to provide for my wife and my family the best way that I can and be there, you know? Yeah. That's what I would say.
My thing would be like that I'm very big on, even more so now that I became a mom. If it's negative energy in any shape or form, remove it from your life. Especially if you're in adulthood and we're all grown adults. If there are people still on that same BS that they were on when they were in school, then they're clearly not going to change. And negative energy will eat you alive. That's cancer. That's what becomes your disease. So to me, it's like, if they're disrespecting you, you know, not letting you be who you are, not giving you the right to believe what you want to believe, and not being respectful and open-minded, remove it, dead it, because it's only going to bring you down. And that kind of energy, for your most successes and for your lowest of lows, they will still be the same person trying to bring you down. So I'm very big on be very mindful of who you bring into your home and who you share the goods and the bads with, because those are the same people that's attacking you from the outside. So that's just, I love that. Like, I had to, like, I'm just like, I will kick somebody out quick. If you're talking some type of stuff you shouldn't be talking, I cannot have this around me or my family.
There you go. And
so,
I agree.
Just
no negative energy.
We don't do that.
No negative energy, basically, no negative energy, and take control of your life.
Yeah.
And then you'll be happy.
Because if they're real, they're going to be real with you, and they know it, because everybody goes through something in one point of their life or the other. So if you're acting like your stuff don't stink, then you stay with those people that do.
All you got to
do,
you can stay there.
Genuine.
Right.
All you have to do is just be genuine. And I mean,
if you're not going to uplift or support, then it's best that you stay in that lane.
Go kick rocks.
Yeah. You won't be chilling with us. VIP. That's all I got.
I can't add anything more. And
yeah,
you guys just, you know, that's why I had to bring you guys. Your authenticity is
thank you for 100. Having us. Yes. I learned we learned so much listening to you.
Yeah. I love you guys. No, you guys are just too much. You guys, too much in a positive way. Not in a positive way. But I'll definitely send you guys. If I forget, just send me a message. But I'll send you the book as soon as I get home. And, yeah. So thank you.
And let us know when this will release so we can promote and you know, network out there for you.
Yes, you just remind me. So I didn't. Where can the audience find you? You know, people want to get in touch. How can they follow you guys? You know.
Yes. So my name is Ruksana Carroll, RUKSANACARROLL. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My page is open. I love to connect with people and learn and build. So I'm there.
And my name is Wayne Carroll Jr. on Facebook, and then on Instagram it's @ImportP. So that's my performance name.
But we do have a YouTube channel. Long story short, we share our lifestyle, you know, our life and our journey. We've been on Family Feud before. We have some projects coming up, so stay tuned.
Hold on, and just to be clear, Import P is spelled at the letter MPORTP.
Yeah, we'll share with you so you can share.
Yeah, I'm gonna add all those to the show notes and.
Okay,
perfect. Yeah, and let us know when you're gonna drop this so we can definitely promote for you and get people some good towards your page too.
Okay, so thank you again, and to everyone listening, thank you for the privilege of your company. Don't forget to keep sharing and keep the love coming in. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us. This was great.
So I'll send you guys the book. As soon as I get home, I'll take a photo and send to you guys. Also, do me a favor. Send me a photo of the both of you that I can use to create a promo clip.
We got that.
When do you think you're gonna drop this?
In about I think, let me see. I was thinking of 3 weeks, but I might use this in 2 weeks instead. I might use this episode in 2 weeks.
Okay, let me know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
As soon as I get home, I'll decide. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll connect as soon as this stuff is over. We'll definitely meet up for some dinner or something for sure.
Oh, most definitely. Most
Yeah, thank you
I
so
gotta
much.
come try all those good foods, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're coming out to the BK. Don't worry, we're coming out there too.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
Thank
No
Be safe.
problem.
Enjoy
All
your
right,
day.
bye.
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 Oh, they're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're always fun. Ah shit, I forgot to shout out Jonah. I said it, I was like, okay, I'll shout him out at the end. I'll shout him out when I post it.